what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh. Finally, the cool Carolina mornings of fall are starting to creep into our lives as the calendar ticks toward the 10th month. The days are getting shorter, and the fall weekend schedule is filling up, especially if you're a fan and follower of North America's favorite fall pastime, football. And if you're a fan of football, chances are pretty good you're also a fan of food, cooked low and slow for hours in advance of kickoff. After all, you can't have football without a tailgate party, and you can't have a tailgate party without food. Just look into the parking lot of your college, pro, or heck, your high school football stadium a few hours before the start. You'll find rows and rows of cars with cooktops, grills, pizza ovens, smokers. With that comes a smorgasbord of all the meaty main dishes and delightful sides. The game-going fans need to fill up a belly with food perfect for soaking up all that, well, liquid refreshment, we'll call it. So today, we're tailgating on this episode of the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. We're going to meet a pair of pros who've been smoking low and slow for probably a lifetime. And for a big chunk of time, they've been doing it together at Carolina Panther home games. In this episode, our tailgating team will tell us all about their favorite tailgate recipes and how they're done. We'll open up our BBQ 101 class to get tips every tailgater needs to know. And during our barbecue secret time, our tailgaters are going to share their recipes and the inside scoop behind their smoking success. Finally, we'll speed up low and slow and get our guests' take on the best Carolina barbecue and all their favorites in the barbecue showdown. Before we meet our guests, special thanks to our sponsor, Hickory Greenway Harvest, building raised bed gardens to fight hunger and feed a need for greater awareness about agriculture and sustainability in North Carolina's Hickory Metro. Learn more at hickorygreenwayharvest.org. And remember, to get the complete lowdown from the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, be sure to visit us online, lowslowbbqshow.com. That's where you'll find the Low and Slow blog. It's filled with recipes from this podcast, as well as barbecue stories, ideas, and more advice for low and slow barbecue. You'll also get the recipes and tips from our tailgate masters who we're going to meet right now. I'm excited to have with me Marcus Miller and Randy Abernathy. Guys, I've said your name. Why don't you introduce yourself so the audience knows your voice and tell us how long you've been smoking low and slow. Marcus first.
Well, thank you, Michael. I've been doing it, like you said, I think you hit it spot on pretty much most of my life. And as much as I might hate to say it, I'm 64 years old, so that's a good bit of time.
At least a few decades.
Yeah, that'd be putting it subtly.
Very good. Welcome to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. And Randy?
Well, thanks, Michael. I started smoking barbecue back in the early 90s. I was doing it before then, but the Panthers got their team on 95, and I actually was fortunate enough to go to a Big Green Egg Festival in Atlanta around 92 and 93, and I was sold on that device. There's nothing better to smoke than a Big Green Egg, low and slow, and that's what I use. So I've been doing it now, 25 years at the Panther games. It's just been an awesome experience with Marcus and working with him and his group.
Well, yeah, that's great. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's keep talking about those Panther games, because I've been fortunate to attend one of those events, and it's really like nothing I've been to before. Of course, everybody does their tailgate a little bit differently. Everybody has their own specialties and the fun they like to do. But before we get into all the details, let's talk about your parties. How long have you all been tailgating together now?
I think we're working on about 6 years now. We've, this all started off by the simple purchase of a tailgate trailer by one of our associates, and he needed some people to make that all work and tow it and put it in place when it needed to be there. And I happened to be the lucky individual to get to do that.
Well, the thing about the tailgating that I like is being a transportation logistics company. You got customers that you can bring to these tailgates, and that's really cool to get the customers out to see everything. Plus, your family members can come. The tailgate trailer that we have has a direct TV box, so if you don't even have a ticket, you can sit out there during the game and watch it on television. Yeah. And we have all the accessories that you need to have a great time.
Well, yeah, so you talked about the tailgate trailer, and, I imagine it's got a TV and some beer taps. But beyond that trailer, what else do you include in your tailgate setup? What ordinarily does it include?
Well, I think there would be quite a few things. I mean, you've got tables, you've got tents, you've got those liquid refreshments you were talking about, in addition to the tapped beer. And and all the accoutrements that go along with that, the different equipment. We have a couple of different grills that we have on site usually. One comes with the trailer, of course, and we use that for certain stuff. And then we have another one that we have a grill that we use based on what we're cooking, that enables us to cook whatever that is. It might be hamburgers, it might be sausages, whatever.
Right. Okay. So how long do you spend when you say whatever you plan to cook? How early do you start thinking about the menu and planning that out and figuring out what you're going to cook and what you're going to bring for a particular Sunday?
Well, my recommendation is always give yourself plenty of time, because these things are a moving target. You got to get the count. How many people are going to be there? That's where everything starts, because the more people, the chances are high that you're going to get a little bit more involved with what you're doing.
Right.
If it's a smaller crowd, then you do smaller stuff. But usually it's about a week and a half, and it's as much as 2 weeks in advance, we start to talk about menu, what we're thinking about doing, and then we get our count. Very rarely do we ever have less than 20 people there. I mean, we've had as many as 60.
Right, and that doesn't include the walk-up crowd. So,
That's
if
right.
you're at a tailgate and you're having fun at the Panthers game and you see a crowd having a good time, you go and check that out. So, Randy, tell me about why the Panthers, and how did y'all get latched on to doing this and at the Carolina Panthers? And I know you do it win or lose, and of course we're close proximity, being based in the Hickory Metro, and Charlotte's very close by. But what's kind of kept you with it all this time?
Well, I've always been a sports fan. I played basketball in college.
Right.
I loved it. I had Charlotte Hornet tickets when they had a team here. The team went on strike, unbelievably, in 1994, and I gave up my tickets because I just got kind of burned out on all that.
Yeah.
And then the Panthers started in 95. So I bought 2 tickets, and gosh, it's just been great. A guy beside of me has 3 tickets that he sold every year that he moved to New York, so now I have 5 that my kids can come and sit with us. But I was just sold from day one, and I just love the team. I love the atmosphere. I love the fact that, you never know who shows up at your tailgate. They know where you are. You're at the same place every week, and it's just great to be there. And we get there early so we can do everything we need to do to get ready for, time to eat and go into the game.
And which is more fun, going into the game or being out at the big tailgate?
Well, right now it's a downer going to the game. We're 0-2. We haven't won a home game in over a year.
Oh, yeah.
I hate to say that, but
Oh,
it's
man,
true.
the stats. People can look up all these awful stats another time. But how many winning tailgates have you had during that time?
It's been great. I mean, the tailgates are the highlight of the weekend for me, because you get to see everybody, your family, your friends, your kids, and all. And the game's great. We've got great seats, and we love the people that sit around us. And most of the people that sit around us, part of our tailgate over the years, they come to our tailgate. So it's just a great time. I can't get enough of it, honestly.
So you guys feel like you've been able to develop some relationships with people outside your normal circle, with people you sit around and people you tailgate around, and you've developed those bonds over the years. You feel like you pick up tips and advice from them too?
I'm not a proponent of accepting advice or tips.
Okay, well, you're on the right broadcast.
Yeah, I like going with my own way. Okay. That other stuff kind of confuses me.
Right, okay.
Takes me off the path into the weeds.
Fair enough.
I don't like the weeds. So I kind of stay with what I do.
Fair enough. Let's talk for a minute or two about what you do. And we've got a couple of different things. I've got both you guys, and you've got a couple of great specialties. Marcus, you've been kind enough to share the recipe for one. We're going to post that on our blog, and check it out there at the Low Slow Barbecue Show, lowslowbbqshow.com. But Marcus, why don't you tell us about what your recipe is, and why are you known for, or why is this your favorite thing to prepare for a tailgate?
Well, it's I'm gonna make a long story really, really brief.
Right, good.
I'm a restaurateur, a past restaurateur, and chili was an item I wanted to have at our restaurant, and I didn't know anything about chili. Okay. And I went to a food show in Chicago and met Dave Thomas from Wendy's.
From Wendy's, the Dave Thomas.
The Dave Thomas.
Yeah, okay.
And Dave Thomas told me his view about having chili at Wendy's, and it was real simple.
So wait, before you share that, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, I do that sometimes, but Dave was offering you some advice.
Yeah.
And you were receptive.
Yes.
Okay, carry on.
In this case, I think he was better at
this
it
was
than
Dave
me.
Thomas of
Yeah,
Wendy's.
yeah.
You listened to his advice.
Yes, he's
Joe next to you at the tailgate. Not so much.
Well, if he's got a nice resume to attach to it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Dave Thomas is tailgating next to you. You're going
Yeah.
to take his advice, and he tells you.
He tells me that, listen, every day of the year, there's going to be people come in that's going to want chili. And having chili is something you just got to have on your menu. And I said, that's good because that's something we want to do. So I started my journey on trying to come up with a chili. And I started with the basic idea of his, and each time, each iteration, it developed into something more. And until I got to a point where, quite frankly, I have an award-winning chili. And I'm proud of that. And that's something I think that goes really, really well with pork, barbecued pork. And we do it regularly at the tailgates when the season starts getting a little cooler.
It gets a little cooler. You get a little warm in the chili.
Yeah.
Right. So what makes your chili the best? What sets it apart? And with that kind of buildup, thank you very much for sharing the recipe. As you noticed, this is your secret recipe, but now it is the secret recipe, or soon to be the secret recipe of the world, should they choose to take it. What makes yours so special?
Well, I'll tell you the uniqueness of that.
Okay.
And that is that anybody who's ever experienced making chili, it's a process of taste and touch till you got it just right. So that's going to be different for everyone. Mm-hmm. So now this chili recipe that I'm sharing with all of your listeners, that's going to be their chili recipe, not mine.
I got
because
you.
it's gonna be
taste.
to their taste,
their preference. And barbecue's a lot the same way, whether you're making the sauce or the rub or whatever.
That's exactly right. So for me, the things that make my chili really different, I think, and you see iterations of it all the time, but it's really the sweetness with the little kick of heat on the backside of it that really makes it, I think, special.
Okay. What kind of meat are you putting into it?
The meat that I use is top shelf beef, 97% beef, fresh, and I use nothing but as an additional meat. I use the sausage that you get from Nice's hot
Nice's
sausage.
Carolina favorite there. Yeah.
That's the other product I put in it. So it's a pound of each of that.
Yeah.
And, it cooks by the time I'm finished with it, it's been cooking for 2 days.
2 days. So are you cooking it in a crock pot? Are you putting it in a pot low over the grill, smoker?
Yeah, we start it early on the stove and cook everything down, let it simmer for a good bit of time. And then we take that, transport it into a crock pot. And then that's when the magic begins, because now you start getting it up to a temperature and letting it cook for a long time and adding a little of this, a little of that to supplement the stuff you've already put in it.
Right.
But maybe a little bit more chili powder is what it needs to get just a little bit more chili flavor. Because when you're dealing with putting peppers, corn, beans, all of that stuff dilutes the seasonings that go into this pot. So you have to season multiple times throughout the process to get that multiple layer of flavor in the product.
Yeah, that's important as a low cook. You're going to need to try to apply that all along. So that sounds like something great. What do people say when they have it at the tailgate?
Do you have more?
Do you have more? What do you serve it with?
Well, typically we serve it with cornbread we've done in the past.
Oh, yeah.
We use just a regular chip. We do that process. And it's also good with a little bit of slaw in a little cup. A little bit of chili with a little bit of slaw
Some
on top
spice
of
and
it.
some cool.
A little bit of cream cheese, and get after
That
it.
sounds good. All right, let's turn the page here. I'm going to go to Randy because I know Randy has a specialty that as well. And you guys are both great cooks. I know you make a lot of different things very well, and you've got a lot of great recipes. And I'm grateful for you sharing the details with me and our audience here. But Randy, let's talk about what you feel like your specialty is. And I understand it's a little more towards the barbecue realm. So what's Randy's tailgating pick for the menu?
Well, it's barbecue.
Okay.
Boston butts. Typically, I can get 2 10, 11-pound Boston butts on my Big Green Egg, and it's low and slow. I got a rub that I put on it, get it seasoned really good, and then I use cherry and apple wood chips exclusively. That's all I use. And then I'll use a slow temperature, about 250 degrees, for probably 6 to 7, sometimes 8 hours, depending on the size. And then when that Boston butt gets up to 160, I wrap it. And, of course, until it gets up to 160, I'm continually spraying it with apple juice, continuously.
From the start.
Every 30 minutes,
Every
I'm
30
putting apple
minutes,
juice
okay.
on it, okay? And then when it gets up to 160, I take a heavy-duty foil, double wrap it, and then I put the Boston butt in the foil, put about a half a cup of apple juice in there, wrap it up real tightly, put it back on the Big Green Egg, and it takes about 2 to 3 more hours to get to 205. Is where the finishing temperature is. Mm-hmm. And then you're maybe talking 12 hours to do it right. And then we put them in a cooler. We let them finish real slow for about 3 hours to continue cooking, and then put them in a refrigerator till we get ready to serve. But it's just a great recipe that I learned. But it's low and slow. You have to do it low and slow.
Right, yeah, definitely. And that Big Green Egg, you feel like it allows you to keep a low heat, even if you're opening a spray.
It is.
You're able to keep that heat in there.
It stays in there. You can adjust the top and the bottom of that Big Green Egg. I use the Royal Oak lump charcoal that you can buy. That's all I use. And then of course, like I say, the apple and cherry wood chips is awesome. And I put them in water for about an hour, let them get wet, and then drain them. Put them on right before you put your barbecue on.
So let's say Panthers game day, 1:00 start, kickoff. What time you get to the tailgate first? What time do you feel like you guys start there?
Well, we usually get there between 8 and 9 o'clock.
In the morning.
In the morning. Yep.
So you're getting there 8 or 9 o'clock. When do you normally smoke your buds?
The day before.
The day before. Okay.
The day before. What I do is I smoke them the day before. I'll finish them up. Maybe if I start them at 8, they're done by 8 at night. I let them sit for a couple hours, put them in the fridge, get up the next morning about 6, get them up to temperature, get them warm, and then we can finish them off at the tailgate. We have a grill there that we can put them on and use indirect heat to get the temperature up to serving.
So you're just using it like an oven then basically to warm it up and get it back up to that serving temperature.
Well, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll chop it, and the morning before I come to the tailgate, I'll get up and warm it and then chop it. That way it's going to be chopped up, ready to go, and sliced. And we can still put it in pans and get it warm.
Yeah, and you can have it in your scrambled eggs before you go off to the ball game and have sneak a little bit of eating on the side.
But there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with using frozen barbecues that you put in a food saver and freeze them. But I've always been a proponent of doing a fresh one on Saturday and then serving it on Sunday.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
That's some great tips about you. What do you feel like, Randy, sets your specialty, your Boston butt aside from what other folks might get at another tailgate?
I think it's the Big Green Egg. I think it's the way you prepare it. If you don't do it low and slow, it's not going to be as good as it can be. So it's the Big Green Egg and the wood chips and the lump charcoal and the seasoning you put on it and the wrap that you do. A lot of people don't wrap their barbecues. They'll just cook them up to a certain temp. But when you wrap it and you have that apple juice in there, man, it really falls apart. It's really unbelievable.
How do you like to serve it up?
Well, we serve it up. We put it out in pans, chop it and put it in pans, and we let the people that come to tailgate either they put sauce on it, just the barbecue, or we got buns. They want to use a bun, they can do that. Like I say, we use some of it for the Brunswick stew as well. So
right, okay,
we do it that way.
Yeah, so that's sort of the next step. You spin out some Brunswick stew.
The Brunswick stew is awesome with that barbecue. You can use the chopped barbecue. The recipe is awesome, and we've had so many compliments about that Brunswick stew, especially when the weather gets a little cooler like now. It's going to really, really be nice.
Would y'all have chili and stew at the same? No, you couldn't do that.
We have.
We have.
You have.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
so you could have chili and which went fastest?
They both go pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't think we leave with any.
No.
It normally all disappears.
And then, we do take other appetizer-like things
You're
to
right.
go with that.
Okay.
There's a couple that I love that I use.
Well, let's talk about that here after we take a quick break.
Okay.
We're going to take a drink of water. When
Right.
we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the BBQ 101. We'll have a barbecue review. We'll go into secret time. Marcus and Randy are going to share their family jewels, and we'll have a low and slow barbecue showdown. All that momentarily.
Hey everybody, John Reep here, and I'm with Lauren Weaver of the Hickory Smokehouse, and we have partnered up and we have come up with what we think is the best barbecue sauce in the world. It's called John Reep's Hickory Smokehouse South in Your Mouth Barbecue Sauce. But don't just take our word for it. Listen to what other chefs are saying. So this holiday season, reap the benefits, sop it up, let your taste buds rise again, and put a little South in your mouth.
We got it in hot, too.
Yeah. Thanks, Lauren.
Welcome back to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. We're talking tailgating in this week's episode, but before we get back to the Tailgate Masters, I want to ask Marcus to put on his Hickory Greenway Harvest hat. He's the founder and the leader of that organization, and I want to invite him to take just a quick moment or two and tell us about what is Hickory Greenway Harvest, Marcus?
Well, Hickory Greenway Harvest is a group of like-minded individuals who believe that we, as part of our being human beings in our community, that it's important for us to share some of our time and helping those in our community that don't have as much as we do. But most specifically, we work directly with the soup kitchen, the Hickory Soup Kitchen, and we also work with Safe Harbor, which is an organization in the Hickory community that helps reinstitute young women back into society. Mm-hmm. So that's our passion, and we enjoy doing it.
And so what are the things that you do, or we do, because I'm involved with the organization,
Yeah.
I'm proud to say. So
Yeah.
what are some of the things that we do to support those two organizations?
Well, it's really about sustainability. You mentioned earlier, we build raised garden beds and throughout the community, and have supported that for over 6 years. And all the vegetables that come from these different garden plots go to, end up being fresh vegetables for the soup kitchen to use to feed the homeless and the people that come to their facility. During that process, there's a lot of opportunities for education for people who volunteer with us and help us. And it's also, I think, a unique opportunity to discuss the idea that anybody can do a little something and it have an impact in their local community. A lot of people sit at home and they ask themselves, well, what can I do? Well, it doesn't take a lot. You can be a volunteer for a weekend, and that's an important part of the process. And that's what we're proud to offer, is an opportunity for people to do a little something and feel connected to their community in a way that they wouldn't be otherwise.
All right, and these garden beds are all over Catawba County. We have one at the Salt Block near downtown Hickory, if folks know about that. And there's one at the Soup Kitchen as well. And there's a couple of other locations scattered around the county. Again, I said I'm involved. I got involved because I have young children and wanted to have them have an opportunity to see where plants came from and how our vegetables grew and with the work that was involved in creating this kind of thing that would create a sustainable life for other people out in this world. And I've been fortunate to get other families involved too. So if folks want to get involved with Hickory Greenway Harvest, tell us how we need to do that.
It's real easy. You can just go to our website at www.hickorygreenwayharvest.org and find the volunteer page at the top of the page. Just sign up and sign up that sheet and send it to us, and we'll get in contact with you and try to figure out a way for you to connect with us and be involved.
Great. And so that's Hickory Greenway Harvest. And I want to kind of change gears, but keep it in that gear on back to barbecue. And there is a tie-in here. Old Chigger Willard's got some ties working together here, but Hickory Greenway Harvest also has some barbecue activities. So why don't you and Randy chime in a little bit and tell us a little bit about what you guys have going on there?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Well, part of our process, again, I mentioned for the third time, sustainability. In any organization, you have to try to create a sustainable model so that you're not dependent on all this funding to be constantly coming your way every year, because that's just not the way it works. Right. So you have to.
It doesn't grow on trees like tomatoes and corn and eggplants.
If it did,
I could grow money like we can grow eggplants.
If it did, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
But that's a whole nother story for a different show.
We're working on the money.
The thing that the tie-in that you mentioned is that one of our sustainability fundraising events is, in fact, doing barbecue and selling it in the community. Now, when we say sell, we really mean donate, accept donation for, because we're a nonprofit.
Right.
So that's a way for the community to help out. Maybe if they can't come and be a part of a volunteer effort, they can buy our products, be it sweet pepper jellies that we also do, right, or the smoked pork. And our smoked pork is done almost identically to the way that that Randy cooks his on his big green egg. The one difference is we do ours on a much bigger commercial-oriented grill, and it's gas. And before you jump on me and knock me over, there's a reason for that.
Oh, I know. It may not be a good one, but I know.
Well, the reasoning is as each person who cooks low and slow knows, they have to put a pan of water in their grill to keep it moist. Okay. That's because it's low humidity when you're cooking with charcoal. Yeah. With gas creates its own humidity, so therefore you don't need the water. And you can cook quicker at higher temperature, which makes it a little bit more convenient, in a mass production type situation. So, but the meat comes out just as good. Yeah, it's just done quicker than what you would do if you were cooking on a grill.
And Randy, because I've seen the process, and after you've explained, the way you do it and see how it happens, it helped you guys out, fortunately. How do you feel like it's different cooking 2 on the green egg versus, 20 or 25 on the big cooker?
We do it the same way. We wrap them. We use the apple juice on them while they're cooking. We take them to 160. We double wrap them. We get them up to 200, 205. It's identical. It just takes a little bit less time to do it on the gas grill. And that gas grill is pretty awesome. I mean, I think it's pretty important that where we bought it at, they're kind of known for championships. Out of the last 10 barbecue championships, their grill won 9 of them.
Well, let's hear it. Give them a plug too. Don't give all the love for Big Green Egg.
Yeah, that's BBQ Grills.
BBQ, Elm City.
Yeah, in Elm City, out past Raleigh.
Yeah.
Great organization, great company. Randy and I both got the opportunity to walk through their plant and watch them actually welding these things together, and you can tell it's a top-notch operation. These guys are really proud of what their product that they make, and I got to tell you, after cooking on it for a season and a half, it's flawless. You get that thing dialed in, and it stays right there.
Now, this is where I always give you a hard time. What about the smoke? Do you feel like you get the same smoke flavor as you do on the green egg or your smoker?
It's different in that typically in a smaller format type of cooking process, like Randy's talking about with his big green egg, everything's closer. You're right on it. Where with a gas oriented device. You have what's called a smoker box, and you got to keep that thing full for at least the first couple of hours to get the smoke distributed. But when that smoke is rolling out of the top of that grill, you're putting the smoke to it. That's right.
Smoked.
Yeah, it's getting smoked. And the flavor, I mean, I've had both.
Yeah.
You can't tell the difference.
Yeah, so people want it now, mouth watering. They can get this barbecue. Also find it on the website?
Well, Facebook is where we generally operate from. I don't mind sharing my personal phone number with everyone, so they can call me directly.
Why don't we'll send them to the blog. Everything else is going to be on the blog. Hit
That's
the blog.
perfect.
We'll get you hooked up with
That'll
Marcus,
be perfect.
And getting that barbecue. And I think I've got some pictures of it too.
Yeah.
And maybe even have some of them cooking. Y'all can check it out on the blog. Let's get on to BBQ 101 and start getting some tips back in our tailgate mindset, if I can get you guys back to tailgate. So, what do you feel like is a tip or a one-of-a-kind practice that every tailgater must do if they're going to have a successful event? And Randy, I'll start with you, if that's all right.
Well, I think what you got to do is make sure, number one, you have enough for the people that's coming. Like I say, we have sometimes 50 or more.
Of course, you have enough food.
We got to have enough food, and we try to do the sides that go with the barbecue itself. We can't just eat barbecue by itself. You got to have some things that go with it. So we're always bringing different things to the tailgate that would supplement the barbecue as well.
Yeah.
And there's several of those things we can talk about, but
we'll talk about that here in just a second.
But,
so what do you feel like is your big tip besides make sure everybody has enough to eat? Because that seems like the most basic thing in the world, but I'm sure it's something that, I never think about that. I'm not as smart as you guys.
Yeah, I think to me it boils down to planning and preparation.
Okay.
And being equipped with the stuff that you have to pull off these types of events. And that can be everything from tables to tents to cooking utensils. You just have to be prepared. But to use the old Boy Scout moniker, be prepared. And if you're prepared, you're going to have a wonderful event. You're going to have people talking about what you're doing.
You're always going to be prepared, but what's the one tool that you've got to have at the tailgate?
Randy.
Randy is the best tool to have a tailgate. And Randy, what's the number one tool that you have? And don't say Marcus, because he's got to have you. Y'all can't both have yourselves as the same tool.
Well, I think it's the fact that we have all the utensils, the grill, all the implements we need. We got a cooler, everything we need to have a great tailgate.
You can only pick one. You're going to a tailgate. You've got all the food you need. You've got, let's say, you've even got Marcus. What's the one thing you've also got to have?
Well, I think you got to have, the preparation naturally goes into it to start with to have the right food. But you just got to have a sense of, hey, we're here to serve these people that are coming. To me, it's a personal thing more than anything else to be there and meet my friends and meet the people that are coming to not only see us but enjoy the food. And I think it's just a personal thing to me to do that.
There you go, a personal commitment to producing a successful tailgate. That is the number one thing.
I thought for sure he was going to say Fireball, but
I thought he was going to go with bottle opener. You've always got to get that because I don't use those twist off beer bottles. Liquid refreshment that is. Let's talk about the smoker and the grill of choice. Yeah, I've heard about Randy in the green egg. I'll get some more details, specifics momentarily. What is your cooker of choice?
Well, I have been using Weber's. I'm a gas man.
Yeah,
I don't mind. I think that's pretty clear. But I have been using Weber grills of all different types and sizes for probably at least 30, 35 years. And I have never been let down on their quality. And every instrument is a little different. And what I mean by that is just like any device. You've got hot spots, you've got cooler spots, and once you learn that instrument, you've got it dialed in. You can cook anything on that grill anytime you want. I would say it's the Weber product. I'm not a charcoal guy, so.
Right on, okay. So, yeah. and Randy, again, now you've got the big green egg. Tell us what size yours is and what do you feel like Let's tell us your size and how you feel like you operate it.
Well, they come in basically just maybe one size, really. They got a small one.
Yeah.
The one that's the stand-up kind is you could put, like I say, 2 10, 11-pound Boston butts on. You can get 3 on there if you have them like 6 or 7 pounds and do it. But it's just the perfect size to do what I want to do. You can keep the temperature, at the right level. You can open it top and bottom to make sure the flow comes through. And it just you turn that thing on and you turn on 250. You don't touch it. It stays at 250 for hours. So it's not like you got to go in there and continue to watch it.
You're not dragging it out to the tailgate, though.
No.
Okay.
It stays at the house.
Yeah.
I'm just taking the product, the barbecue, to the tailgate.
The finished product.
Yeah.
Smart man. Don't drag that out there. You never can tell what'll happen out there.
Well, it takes so long to prepare or to do it. It makes no sense to take it the day of the game because it's going to take hours for it to cook. And you by the time you cook it, you just want to warm it up and get it ready to go.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to take it into barbecue secret time. And I know you guys have shared a lot of the secrets, so I won't get into too much. But you said something that kind of perked my interest there, and I know it's a secret that not everybody knows about, and it's barbecue Sunday. And I don't think you mean just having barbecue on Sunday, because barbecue's good every day. And I know the Panthers play they have a game usually on Sunday, but not that barbecue. So what is a barbecue Sunday? Tell us the secret of barbecue Sundays.
Well, it's an incredibly easy way to eat barbecue and not be dealing with a plate and a bun and all of this stuff. I mean, let's face it, you're standing around, you've got a cup in one hand, you got a beer in another. It's so the notion behind a barbecue Sunday is really simple. It's a plastic cup, solo cup. And you put in some barbecue on the bottom, and then you put in a little bit of red slaw or regular coleslaw, and then on top of that, you if you got some chili, you can put a little chili in there too, and then on top of that, you might throw some Sweet Baby Ray's sauce on top of that, and you've got your Sunday. It's layered. You just dig through it and eat it like normal.
And I can just go back and fill that cup again and
again. That's exactly
Who
right.
came up with this?
I can't take ownership for that, quite honestly. I believe that might have been one of our associates that came up with that idea.
It may be. I can't remember exactly when we first started doing it.
We've been doing it a while.
But it's been a hit since we started.
Yeah. So Randy, you've whet our appetite a little bit. Let's talk about some of your secrets, and those are the appetizers. And I'll go ahead and tell everybody I stole your recipe and put it on the blog. It's for your stuffed peppers, and they're great.
Oh.
I love the jalapeno poppers. They're fantastic. So tell me some of your other appetizer recipes. What's the recipe, the appetizers you need to have at a tailgate?
The best one that we've done, and my wife actually does this, we take, believe it or not, you can buy these in the store, pickle watermelon rinds. And you can take a pickle watermelon rind, wrap it in bacon, put a toothpick in it, grill it, and they're unbelievable. They're
Holy
awesome.
cow.
They're pickled watermelon rinds, and like I say, we've done it before.
Yeah.
And the jalapeno poppers are out of sight too.
Yeah.
You just take the seeds out, cut them in half, sausage, cream cheese, and put them on the big green egg and warm them up, and they're just awesome.
Yeah. Do you wrap yours in bacon?
Not the jalapeno poppers.
Yeah, no, I see some people do that.
I do the others though.
Right.
The watermelon rinds, I put. I wrap them in bacon. Yeah.
So what else?
Well, I've got a tailgate gumbo that I really love.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, there's so many other kinds of recipes. Matter of fact, the guy that I kind of look up to for all this is a guy named Ray Lampe he's got a book called the NFL Game Day Cookbook.
Oh, well, of course you're doing the Panthers tailgate. You got to have the NFL Game Day cook-up, complete with the shield.
And it's 150 recipes to feed the hungriest fans from preseason Super Bowl. He's awesome. And he's a big green egg guy. That's where I first met him in Atlanta. But I bought his book, and again, it's the NFL and the Game Day Cookbook. That's awesome. It's got 150 recipes, and I could sit there all day and talk about the ones we've done, but those two we just talked about are my favorites.
You just flip through and one day say, hey, this one looks good, we're going to try it this Sunday. Whenever y'all planning the menu a week in advance.
The tailgate gumbo's awesome because it's got shrimp involved in it, so it's not just barbecue. A lot of people like shrimp at tailgate, so we do that too. So that's a good one.
So let's get into a little bit of the family jewels. Those are some great secrets, and thank you guys again for sharing you are going to share the recipes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I got this right. Good deal. Check them out on the blog, BBQshow.com. Let's talk about the family jewels, kind of the stories behind the stories, and that's really all we've really talked about throughout the course of this whole thing. But and Randy, you touched on it a little bit about that personal commitment of doing the tailgate just right. But what do you guys enjoy about having these game day tailgates and about preparing the food, and what do you enjoy most about it?
For me, it's the immediate gratification, and I kind of got used to that when I was in the restaurant business. But that instant gratification that comes from providing a good meal to someone, whether it's at a tailgate or in a restaurant environment or even at your home when someone shows up at your house, that's just a really, really great way to get immediate feedback. Nothing feels better than that to me. I mean, having somebody say, man, this was off the hook is like, I mean, you couldn't pin an award on my chest and make me feel any prouder.
Right. Yeah.
That's really what it's all about.
What about you, Randy?
Well, tailgating to me it's a personal thing, and the thing that I like most about it is the friendships you encounter, the people that you have doing it. And it's a lot of work, believe me. It's not simple to do this. But when you leave that day after the game's over, you're so gratified that, hey, look, today was just awesome with the people we met. And regardless of how much work it is, it's well worth it and beyond.
Yeah, it's a multiple all-day affair.
Yes,
when you're
it is.
smoking all day long and then you go out there, you say you get there at 8 o'clock, even for a 1 o'clock game, and they get done at 4, but, there's pack in and pack out, and you're going to have a little bit more fun after the game, right? Yeah.
You are.
So think about this, your best game experience. What's the best tailgate experience you've ever had? If you take just a moment to think about, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at the Carolina Panthers game. It could be at any other venue, and it could be because of the food you had or the game that happened or the outcome. But if you had to pick one, Randy, I'll start with you. What is the best tailgating experience that you've had?
Well, I've got a lot, but the best one was the year that we went to the Super Bowl.
The Panthers.
Right. We won the game at home, and I'm standing at my tailgate after the game, and all of a sudden, somebody walks up behind me and puts his arm around me. It's Greg Olson.
Holy cow.
Greg Olson, his parents tailgated with us. Of course, his brother's was here too, both his brothers. But Greg came to my tailgate after we got the win for the Super Bowl, and that's the greatest memory I've ever had.
And this would have been the second Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one most
2016.
recently, right.
Yeah.
Cam Newton led us to the Super Bowl against the Broncos.
Yeah.
That one, not the Jake Delhomme Super Bowl.
No, this was the second one.
Right.
When we went out to California and played the Broncos and got beat. But that was such a great time.
Oh yeah, man, I
can't get over that
for sure. What about you, Marcus?
Well, seeing as how he took a football event, I'm gonna stick with the food.
Yeah.
One of my best memories of tailgating with Randy was when he and I decided we were going to do fresh pizzas.
Yeah.
And we got a couple of pizza ovens that we could set on top of this big tailgate grill that I have, and we got out there and we were rolling the dough and we were putting the toppings on it and we were slipping them in and out of those ovens going as fast as we could. And one of our associates said, I think you got way too much stuff here. There's no way they're going to eat all these pizzas. We didn't have a thing left.
Yeah.
It's
so good.
It was just a really neat. We had a nice little assembly line going with a couple of the ladies that go to the games with us. It was awesome.
Yeah.
To be able to do pizza and do it fresh and pull that off with a crowd of 35, 40 people was pretty unbelievable.
You were wearing a lot of badges that day.
I wear a lot of badges every day.
Well, I mean, badges of pride that day.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So,
I had a pocket full.
Let's take it the other way. What's the worst one? What's been the worst tailgate ever? And this can be specific to the food, or there's been some not great games and rain, and I know all that kind of stuff. But what's the worst?
I gotta be honest when I say this. There's no such thing as a bad tailgate.
Okay.
As long as you've got good food, good friends, and good drink.
Yeah.
What happens at the game is immaterial.
But what if you don't have good food? What if your food flopped?
Well, then
Have you
that's
ever had
that's
have you had a
somebody
food
else's
flop?
problem because that doesn't happen with us.
I don't know food flops. No food flops, Randy. No horrible experience.
We haven't had any food flops. If you say anything there's negative about tailgate, it's just when we lose the football game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the worst. When the years that we were really, really not good and lost a lot of games, that was really tough to come after the game, and you want to celebrate the wins.
Yeah.
The losses are tough.
Yeah.
Especially when you're that close to the team, and you put so much into it. You really want to win. And it hurts. It does. That's the
You
worst.
invest a lot of time, effort, and energy just like they do. Y'all may not be out on the field, but y'all are, putting something behind it. Good to know. All right, so we're going to start to try to wind it down a little bit, and I've got some kind of quick hitters out here. But before I get into that, I want to ask you, who do you guys turn to for barbecue advice? I mean, obviously the NFL Game Day Cookbook, and Marcus, I guess you don't take advice. So is that a moot point? Do y'all not turn to anyone for barbecue advice?
It's funny, and I know we've had some fun with the comment I made earlier in the podcast, but I will say that I enjoy bouncing ideas off of Randy.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed doing that over the past several years. I like bouncing ideas off of the female participants of our group,
Right.
Because they do have a different take and and many times have a different desire for what they would like to eat.
Yeah, right. Better.
So from that standpoint, I like to engage, but I've really already got my mind made up before I start.
Very good. Randy, do you turn to anybody for barbecue advice?
Dr. Barbecue.
Dr.
Ray,
Barbecue, there you go.
He's known as Dr. Barbecue. I go with him, and I've never been disappointed in anything that he's ever had in his book. So he's the man.
He's the man. He's got an MD and everything.
Yep.
All right, so let's go into the quick hitters, and we're going to start this up before we wrap up our low and slow barbecue show with our tailgating team here. First, best Carolina barbecue restaurant. So tell me your best North Carolina barbecue restaurant.
I really don't eat barbecue out.
Did I invite you to this show? Oh, eat it out. Okay, well, that makes sense. But
I don't really
don't
eat
have-
barbecue out. I mean, when you can cook it yourself, I might turn the table on you and ask you the same thing.
I have a favorite
Jigger
barbecue.
Willard?
I have a favorite barbecue restaurant.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll try that one because I know you're a great connoisseur of barbecue.
I wouldn't offer you my advice and already knowing it's not going to be taken. Randy?
Well, where I live,
Point taken.
I live, a few minutes from Shelby, North Carolina.
Oh, there you go.
There's a place there called Austin Bridges
Oh, yeah.
Barbecue that is unbelievable.
Yep.
And I've been eating there for years and know the people. And even when I don't do my own, if we want to go get any barbecue or eat out, we go to Austin Bridges. It's hard to
Yeah,
beat.
that's great. Love Austin Bridges. So what do you get there? What's your favorite thing?
Their chopped barbecue.
Yeah,
That's what I get.
Just the chopped pork, and their sauce is really good
Their
too.
sauce
I like
is great.
slaw.
Their sides are good.
Really
if you
good
want,
stuff.
If you want beans,
Yeah.
if you want, it's you got your own choice. They've just got so many sides that's great too.
Yeah. Well, if you're ever in Birmingham, Alabama, Marcus, Golden Rule. You can't go wrong with the Golden Rule. Barbecue unto others as you'd have barbecue unto you. Of course.
I like that. I
If we're
like
here in
that.
Hickory Metro, JD's, of course.
Right.
JD's Smokehouse over in Conley Springs. So that'd be my other advice for you. Other quick hitters here. We're just going to have sort of one-word answers. We can explain a little bit as we need to. But first of all, best Carolina barbecue style, Eastern or Western?
Western.
Same here, Western.
Why Western?
Well, for me, that's all I've ever used.
Yeah.
I've tried others, but I can't get any better than what I've got with that.
Right.
Honestly.
And let's tell everyone, where are you from, Randy?
Where am I from?
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Where in North Carolina?
Cherryville, North Carolina.
Right, you're in the west half of the
I am.
state, so you're having Western style, and you just came to your as a transplant to North Carolina and a proud Carolinian. Why Western for you?
Well, my understanding is, and I'm not the connoisseur you are or the educated barbecuer that you
now
are.
You're off a deep end now.
But I would say this: it's always been my understanding that Western barbecue, Western people in the state of North Carolina have always been proponents of thicker tomato-based type sauces
yeah,
versus
tomato in it.
the vinegar based sauces is down on the east. Yeah. So that's always been my understanding. And although I'm not afraid to have vinegar based sauce, I do like the thicker sauces that we have here in Western North Carolina.
Gas, pellets, or charcoal?
Gas.
I'm a charcoal guy.
Best state in these United States for barbecue?
North Carolina.
Oh, absolutely. No
Okay,
question.
There you go. We got the right answer there. Okay, so pork, beef, or chicken?
Pork.
I like them all three, but again, pork is my favorite.
Pork's my favorite. Yeah, that's good. Sauce, better with or without?
I'm a light sauce kind of guy.
That's good. Get the flavor of the meat.
Yes.
I tried to drown you in
The right
sauce.
sauce is hard to beat. Like I said, that Sweet Baby Ray's is hard to beat.
Yeah,
I love it.
okay. So you like sweet? If I asked you sweet or spicy, you'd say
I like them both, but typically it's the sweet.
sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet or spicy?
I do a mix typically. I like a little bit of spicy vinegar sauce mixed in with some Sweet Baby Ray's to make up a special kind of sauce. It's a little thinner. Baby Ray's is what it ends up being, but it really does give it a nice little punch.
And finally, Randy, barbecue, is it a verb or a noun?
I'm assuming it's a noun, but I don't know for sure.
I'd say it's a verb.
It is.
And that, my friends, is the lowdown from the Tailgate Masters. Thanks for joining us, Marcus and Randy.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show on the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. Be sure to visit us online at lowslowbbqshow.com. You'll get recipes and notes from today's episodes. Lots of recipes. I got a whole NFL Game Day cookbook full of them over here. You can also access other episodes in this podcast series. Look for the Low and Slow Barbecue Show episodes featuring our backyard barbecue or the food truck smokehouse. Of course, our man cave celebrity smoker and more. Plus, if you subscribe to the Low and Slow Barbecue podcast, we'll deliver every episode directly to you. Special thanks to my guests, Team Tailgate, Marcus Miller and Randy Abernathy. Thanks as well to Andrew Moose and the whole production team here at the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. Most especially, thank you for listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. I'm Chigger Willard reminding you that for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.